Wanderers. Welcome to Soul Wanderings. I am AJ,
And I am Natalie.
and we are your hosts for this fun hangout that we do on Wednesday nights. You can learn more about us on soulwanderings.com. And also, if you don't learn enough there, you can go to vibesnow.com. That's a place that we hold space in every day, assisting people in their spiritual and healing journeys with themselves.
With themselves and others.
Yeah. No, their healing journey with themselves. Yeah. But in doing so, you get to find your people and your connections and all of that. I have really, really loved that. Tonight, we're going to be talking about friends. And that's one thing I love about Vibes so much is watching the people come and find new friends that they connect with, and then you see this group form and this group form and then this group form, and it's so fun. It's just so fun for them to find their people, and then they all talk about what they've been learning and healing from, and it just creates even better energy, and I just love it so much. It's so magical.
Can't say enough about our space because it is wonderful.
It is so good. It is so good. We are very fortunate to be able to help. And if you want to know about the services we offer, just make sure you visit vibesnow.com. If you're local in the area, we also have some opportunities if you are not local to the area. It's just a matter of connecting with us and see what we have available. So lots of magic is what it is. Yeah. How are you doing, Natalie?
Wow,
We've been in sessions all day. I haven't
oh
even.
my goodness, yes. From the started, like just session after session after session in the flow today, doing my human design, explaining to people how they're designed to operate, watching these aha moments in people.
So good.
It's yes, it's not even a job, not even work.
Oh, it,
I get to be this lucky to do this and for a living. Yes, this is
it's
what I
so
left.
fun.
It wasn't corporate. My government career. I left my federal government career years ago, and like, we have the work for you to do. The universe said we do, and then it's interesting to bring this up in the topic of friends and social circles and reasons and seasons and lifetimes thing, because when I left, I knew a lot of people out there on base and felt like I had all these friendships. And then when it was less convenient and I wasn't actually going and interacting in their world, of course, that a lot of them just didn't hold. There was just a handful of people that I have remained connected to over the years from that time of my life.
Mm,
And so that was a whole different thing to establish new friends and new groups of people. But it wasn't very long that the universe literally had this one lady connected to me that said, "You need to meet this person. You really, really, really need to meet this person. She's not for everyone, but I think you need to meet her." And she's definitely one of my lifelong friends. And then that happened with you. Also, that
yeah,
someone's like, "You need to meet AJ. You've got to meet AJ," where you're being told. And it was like, oh, when we did, we're like, "Oh, there, you're my new friend."
yeah, yeah. And we've been besties ever since.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for us.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes it's like that, the instant friend connection. And then sometimes it ends up being different.
Yeah.
But I was just
And then,
really blown away how the universe just said, moved me through to find my new connections.
mhm, yeah. So I want to start off because tonight we're talking about reason, season, or lifetime. And when we say that, I took it as in, I don't know if you ever saw the poem called Reason, Season, or Lifetime. There's this old poem. I don't even think there's an author. It was just something that was put in some kind of special poem book. But do you mind if I read it? It's a little long, but I think it will set the tone for what our topic is and what that is going to feel like tonight.
Let's do it.
Before I do, though, speaking of friends and social circles and like minded people, I just want to give a shout out to all of our followers over in the chat rooms on Facebook and YouTube, where we hang out on Soul Wanderings on Wednesday nights. Thank you for hanging out with us, you guys, and your participation. And some of you, I think most of you, have been with us for many, many years. So thank you for showing up every week for yourself and supporting our show and being our friends. Thank you. So the poem goes, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. When you know which one it is, you will know what to do for that person. When someone is in your life for a reason, it is usually to meet a need you have expressed. They have come to you to assist through a difficulty, to provide you with guidance and support, to aid you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. They may seem like a godsend, and they are. They are there for the reason you need them to be. Then, without any wrongdoing on your part or at an inconvenient time, this person will do or say something to bring the relationship to an end. Sometimes they die, sometimes they walk away, sometimes they act up and force you to take a stand. What we must realize is that our need has been met, our desire fulfilled, their wake is done. The prayer you sent up has been answered, and now's the time to move on. Some people come into your life for a season because your turn has come to share, grow, or learn. They bring you an experience of peace and make you laugh. They may teach you something you have never done. They usually give you an unbelievable amount of joy. Believe it, it is real, but only for a season. Lifetime relationships teach you lifetime lessons, things you must build upon in order to have a solid emotional foundation. Your job is to accept the lesson, love the person, and put what you have learned to use in all order relationships, other relationships, and areas of your life. It is said that love is blind, but friendship is clairvoyant.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Have you never seen that before?
Mm-mm, not that one.
Because I remember a long time ago, I think it was even in high school, and I was going through some therapy with a counselor there at the school. A really crazy time of my life. I had moved from my childhood home with my mother to go live with my dad and stepmom, and I had no friends. And it was between ninth grade and 10th grade, so between junior high and high school, which was such a pivotal time in someone's life. Like high school is a big deal when you're that age. And I went to a new high school not knowing one single soul. And I remember going to the counselor just like, I don't have any friends. I don't know anyone. All my best friends are in another city. And granted, we were still in the Salt Lake Valley, but it's so far away when you're a teenager and don't have a car and you can't rely on anyone to take you anywhere. And we didn't have the same transportation options that we do now. And so I was just like, really lost. And she gave me that poem and told me those friends will either show up in your life still or they won't. And this is why. And it always stuck with me. And so when people came into my life and left, or people came into my life and stayed for a while and then we lost contact, and then the lifetime friends, I always refer to the people that are in my life or have been in my life, reason, season, or lifetime friends. That's how we put it. And so because of that poem, it just always stuck with me.
I like it.
It's a good one.
It's a really good framework and a healthy framework to come from too, because we can get a lot of angst if relationships go, like it was saying, go
Yeah.
sideways, and then we can have a lot of hurt feelings or various things, or there's a drift. In my life, I find I drift away from people, and
Yeah.
so there may still be connections with people, but the drift happens where I'm drifting to a next thing, or I end up, because there's a lot of my life that is involved with my work, that
Mhm.
if my work carries me away from a place, then I don't really have the connection back to friends. So there's these drifts that I've had within my own life. And what I love about my longstanding friends is they they're fine with periods of time going by and then
Mhm.
catch up. Like it's just like, oh, like no time has passed.
Mhm.
Let's just fill you in quickly on the thing, and then oh, there you are again. I love you, and there's acceptance between us, and they accept that nature in me and don't hold it against me. And I guess if there are people
Mhm.
that hold it against me, I had that happen one time. There was someone who's like, you just don't come this way, and I'm like, you moved away. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that because I know for us, we've had the experience of a really close friend moving, and then we were together quite often, and now we're not together as much. We see each other in passing, like through social circles, like online circles, or or like, you know, however, I got sidetracked in my head. I had to course correct. We're on this path. And it's interesting because the friendship is still very much there. Like this person could call us and we would pick up right where we left off. But there's this distance. And although it's like an hour, it's still like an hour and then another hour to come back and then the time in between. And time goes by so quick,
Yeah.
especially when we're like in our business, like really in it until the end of the day. And then we go out into the world and we're like, oh, I didn't have time to reach out to this person or reach out to that person. And then we'll do it tomorrow. And then the next day comes and then the next day
Hmm.
comes. It's just the way that life works.
It does.
But
So there's that happens sometimes. The drift that geographically people will separate, and you find that that drop in that was easy, and maybe even use the word convenient, just
mhm,
becomes less convenient. And there's people that I've seen, just doesn't it doesn't seem to be in me, but I've seen people that just really will be like, okay, I'm going to attend to my friends, and I'm going to structure, and I'm going to make sure everybody gets called in the month, and I'm going to stay connected and reach out and those different types of things. Maybe it's because I have a very social job where I'm
mhm.
having conversations all day long, and then
Yeah.
when I go into my personal space, I don't always I just sometimes just don't, I'm just like,
You need a
my
timeout.
hermit needs to hermit.
Right. I totally get it. I do. I used to put a lot of my energy into other people and working on the connection. And after a while, when you're the only one working on the connection or the majority of the connection, sometimes it's just easy to just stop connecting or as often, right? Because you're just giving a lot of your
Yeah.
energy away. So that's also a factor in all of that. But it was we talk about how we pick a topic and then things happen for us between the time we pick the topic and then the night we do the show. We get schooled in the topic, and literally within the hour before the show, up until like 5 minutes before the show started, I was visiting with an old friend I hadn't seen in a while, and we have mutual friends that we all just used to be very close. And it wasn't until recently, like, those bonds got a little less close. And so, we were just talking about, like, "Have you heard from so and so, and do you see so and so?" And then just going down memory lane of, "Oh, you remember this one time?" Just thinking about it in your head or your heart and just kind of reminiscing and soaking in that energy. And I was just like, "Oh, this is so on time." Like, here I am, like, I'm still mourning the loss of a friend that I loved very much, and the person didn't pass away, they're just not in my life anymore. and it was recent in the last 6 months. And so I really struggle because, when you care about someone, you want to know how they're doing, if they're doing well, if life is good for them, or, whatever, but you're not really in a position to reach out and be like, hey, I'm thinking about you. So just energetically send them love and hope the world is good for them. But yeah, it just put me in this energy right before the show of like, oh, now I'm melancholy and we're going to talk about this. Dang. I was like, I forgot to wave the lesson this week, but I didn't.
We have to be. It was like, do we really want to talk about this? I actually brought up a topic I don't know, a week or so ago, and she's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Can we just pass?
Yeah, we're going to pass on that topic, and we're going to go with some others. And this one came up. So then processing. So you go back to that that poem that you read that allows you and gives you a healthy framework for processing when someone is no longer in your life like they were, putting them. So sometimes I wonder if there's a step process where sometimes a person maybe come in and it's like maybe they're here for a reason, and then they stay a little longer and go, oh well, maybe they're a season,
Mhm.
and then the seasons come and go and come and go, and you're just like, oh, that's multiple seasons. Well, maybe it's a lifetime.
Yeah, you never know.
Mm-mm.
My marriage is a perfect example of that. Like
Yes.
when I met my husband, I was like, "Oh, I know you." Like there was this familiarity, but not from here, just like a knowing. And the first few years, it was just kind of like, is this person going to be in my life? Like what is that going to look like? Because it was so new and we were still learning each other very much. So and so it was like one of those moments where I really thought maybe it was just a season and possibly a big reason, but it ended up being a lifetime. And you just never know when you meet someone the impact that they're going to have on your life,
Right.
one way or another, whether you put them in any of those categories. Like I didn't see that coming. I didn't ever see myself being disconnected to another person. I just didn't think that was me or my life or what that would look like. And so I knew there was more for me to learn and experience because you do so much when you're in a relationship. It's such a beautiful mirror.
Oh, isn't it though? So that's the beautiful thing. Friendships. Um, so like going into another step into that of saying, okay, so is there purposeful searching for friends, or trusting the flow? Like, what in your experience, how have friends come into your life, or found friends or friendship groups? What's that been like for you?
For my okay, well, I feel like you're setting me up because a manifestor's life. Is this a trick question?
I didn't even think about that, but intuitively I must be on to something.
So, in the human design system, I'm a manifestor, which means I have an aura that repels. And so, no, not knowing that my whole life and then learning that as an adult, everything made sense. So, I'm I'm fairly a quiet person. If you get me in a social event, small or large, I'm the person that kind of just sits back and observes and doesn't doesn't really like go in, mingle or get in the middle of conversations or anything like that. And not because I'm not friendly, it's just not who I've always been. It's not something that resonates with me, and I love social events to a certain degree for a short amount of time, but it hasn't been for me. I don't like surface conversations and friendships. I like deep, meaningful relationships. And I just found like by standing on the outsides, it's not a really great opportunity to connect and meet people. But it also wasn't just me. Like people weren't coming to me to talk either. And it's because my aura and my experience in life mostly has been when people see me, they're standoffish. They're not very many people come up and just talk to me in the sense of like a gathering or something like that. So I never really made friends really easily. It took like far and few between who had the awareness to come approach me or talk to me, or if I saw that they were alone or they didn't have anyone to talk to, for me to go and sit and talk with them because I figured we had something in common. Social awkwardness. I just didn't make a lot of friends. The thing is, when I do make friends, it's like I immediately love them so hard. And a lot of people just are not comfortable with that amount of um, love or having someone see them. And that's been my thing. I just see people and I see their potential and I see who they are on a soul level. And that doesn't make a lot of people really comfortable. So my friends have come and gone. Like I really don't have a lot of friends that I'm close to. The ones that I am really know me, they see me, they honor me, they love me for who I am. And I hold on to those with everything that I can. I think that I'm just so grateful to even have friends to give you an answer. But it's also crazy because, my whole life being an empath, some people would come up to me and just start sharing their whole life stories, but that didn't make me their friend. It was just, it just is an opportunity for them to release because I have that energy about me. Here, come and tell me your whole life and I will hold space for you. So friends, yeah, I am blessed with handfuls of friends, but most of my friends have been for a reason or a season, and I definitely have learned a lot from every single person I've had the opportunity to connect with.
Oh, that
What about
sounds.
you?
Um, so of course my makeup's different than yours. I'm a manifesting generator and I'm a 2/4. So I have this, which doesn't mean anything to the audience, but I have this energy that this people have told me, this light about me, and I've always been, my mom said that my teachers could put me next to anyone in the classroom, and I had this compatibility, and I have this diplomatic spirit and this ability to just put people at ease and this type of thing that I carry with me. And so, and my playing card is a 2 of spades, and that's the friendship card. And so I have literal friendship energy in me. So it seems like I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and
Yeah,
lots and lots and lots and lots of friends. And there's this opportunist, this networking aspect of me that just builds networks and friendships and connections naturally. So to take people would be like, I want to be like that. And it's like, well, I carry that with me. That's not something I have gained some skill at. Like, I think it's something that I just have. And when I discovered my playing card astrology, I was like, oh, that's me. And I have a couple of my sisters, I was talking about before the show that I'm blessed enough to have a family where I have lots of sisters and we're all friends. Like we're friends and sisters and polite with each other. And it's lovely to be able to carry that energy. But I do have like 2 of my sisters have the same playing card as me. So we just get together and just like friendship circle with
yeah,
us. And so I have people that know me from, I'll run into people that ages ago, and it's just like, oh my goodness, there you are, and catch me up, and what you've been doing. And because I can remember things like crazy, I can generally remember their name. But I think I've come to a point where I just can't quite remember all the names that I've known before. But I
mhm,
do make friends easily and connect with people and remember information and details about people. So that's significant. But I do have the drift. So I don't have these, I don't tend to go as deep necessarily. And I do find that if you're in my circle of where I'm interacting, like in my grief groups or where I can see someone on a regular basis, there's friendships that are developed in that too. But in my own, so understanding that there's so many people that I would have a hard time trying to support friends deeply. So my friends also have had to come to know, and you could probably attest to this, that you share me with the world. You have to share
It's
me with the
true.
world because I the world needs me in all kinds of ways. So I don't have quite as much as I would love to dote on my friends as much, but there's like,
Yeah.
this is all the dynamics of me personally.
Yeah. It's true. Natalie has this energy about her that is just unreal. And I don't know one single person who dislikes her. Everyone knows who she is around our community. And if they don't, they have heard of her or um, they are soon to meet her because you just, you have this reputation and your recall for details is unbelievable. When I watch you say, "Oh yeah, you're undefining your heart, right?" And you haven't seen this person in like, I don't know, it's been years, and I'm like, "Wait, how do you remember that?"
I
It's
don't
just
know.
wild to me. Yeah, that's not me. That's we are so different that way. We have a lot of similarities,
Hmm.
but we are so different that way. It's really easy to get to you, into you, be close to you, connect with you. And I do not have that with people the same way that you do.
No, and then I see how people misunderstand. So this comes to like interacting with people that you haven't met or interpretation of people. The human design is you and I, and as much of a community as we can build that wants to
Mhm.
get into that and treat each other according to design
Mm,
actually allows for the differences with people. And it's so much easier to interpret a person if you have
mhm,
some idea about how to interpret them. So it's much more accurate because
mhm,
what I see in human relationships, specifically friendships in this thing, is people are often having expectations of another that aren't quite aligned with the way that they're actually designed to operate.
mhm,
And so with expectations or miscommunications, then someone might be not meeting your need because they don't actually have that aspect within their design. They don't bring that to the table naturally. And and so these things can cause ripples and disruptions within a friendship
mhm.
or interpersonal relationships and cause difficulty. I know I've seen that with people that you were friends with that just somehow it went sideways and it's like, how did they see you like that? I don't see that.
I can laugh about it now, but I'll tell you, I've had a
That's
lifetime
painful.
of broken heart because
Yeah.
it just is what it is. And if I let you in, like you are in, even if you find a way out and go along a different path, I just keep you close to my heart. And that's just how I am. I don't know how else to explain my life with friends. It's a roller coaster indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the challenges with friendship is I find this is a few things that I've heard along the way to just bring up in this conversation that says people is like, I don't know how to make friends. And that there is some social awkwardness that can be in people. Everybody brings their quirks, their personalities, their idiosyncrasies to the table.
Mhm.
And it's helpful to be able to accept people where they are. Um, and that's not always the easiest place because if you can't accept yourself, then it's something to um, accept in another person. But you got to be willing to put yourself into social circles to be able to meet different people than who you already have. So I find this is a challenge with people that I interact with in my grief groups who have lost some aspects of their connection with the previous life. If someone dies or change in a relationship, then they end up needing to develop new social circles, and they're tender and vulnerable at the time when they need probably new people to come and help
Yeah.
them. So there's parts of that that's like, oh, it's hard. It's hard to make new connections and new friends at various times in our life.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's a lot more challenging the older you get. And then when you're in relationships and like you have each other, but you're also seeking friendships or outside friendships, maybe with other partners to have like a group of people you all hang out with, that is really challenging too. It just it I'm not sure why it's so hard. I think the pandemic we had 5 years ago really put a number on that for us
Mm-hmm.
because it took the social aspect away where we were reliant on our devices, which could bring connection, but a lot of times it brings disconnection. And so I think a lot now, because things have changed so dramatically, like really finding genuine close friendships is a little more challenging. I say that with hesitancy also, though, because I look at our wanderers and a lot of them are our people. And whether we've met them in person, which we have some of these, and some of them we've never met, but they've been with us for many years and they've become like family in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
They show up consistently, they support us, we get to share with them and spend time with them, and although the friendship isn't, like we met in a public place, we still have this connection to them, which I am so grateful for because those connections have helped me through some of the hardest times in my life, like not having like a physical friend here, but having, like a random message come in, just like, "Hey, thinking about you," or "The show was great last week. You taught me this," or whatever it looks like. And I feel like when you brought up expectations, we do place a lot of expectations on how things should look for us when we have friends, like how they need to show up for us. But I think if you stand in a place of gratitude of just having a connection, whether it be for the reason, season, or lifetime, that um, everything is just more rich and deep and meaningful, and you'll each offer each other something to take with you on this journey. It's like a mutual instead of a coulda, shoulda, woulda been situation.
Well, and I think that's how that, like that poem that gives some framework that's in a positive and healthy light, you can frame it around that. Because if we've had past friendships and we haven't framed them in reason, season, and not in a lifetime thing, say, well, that person wasn't my lifetime friend. They came for a reason or a season. And so I don't need to hold on to some hurt that shouldn't have happened that way, because this is what happens is we carry our wounds around with us,
Mhm.
or we allow the wounds to heal so that we can encounter a next thing in life. And so you and I work in this where we're like, okay, would you like to heal your wounds? Well, we can help
Mhm.
you with that. And you can, and people have wounds around friendship,
Mhm.
and if they don't get healed, then we can pull ourselves back from the next wave of people that will show up in our lives organically. So we're all in a flow. Vast majority of people are generators, and generators and manifesting generators are just like, you get these waves of things that to respond to.
Mhm.
And manifestor like you initiate contact, you feel something and you initiate something with a person, and risk rejection or allow it to be, you initiate something and hope that they receive that and get initiated. And then those projectors out there are just waiting for someone to show up and invite them to be their friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
these types of things.
I really like the human design system for so many reasons, but especially when it comes to like having the operating system of yourself and others so that you know how to approach them or how to support them or how to be a friend to them. It's really helpful. So grateful for that.
So yes. And then knowing he's like, okay, when all the various aspects of that
Yeah.
with friendship. So when we're working on healing the wounds, so maybe out there to the listeners and people that are listening have so what perspective do you have on a friendship that isn't viable anymore or has ended or there was a fight or a miscommunication? What kind of a framework do you have inside you about that friend? And maybe could you put it in to these categories of reason, season, or lifetime? And then if it comes in whether this friend came for a reason, did you learn? What did you collect from that
Yeah.
friendship? What did you learn? Because I find that wounds stay very tender when we don't collect the lesson from it and understand that we received a gift, that there's a gift in there somewhere. In that pain somewhere, there's a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I I wrote in my book a while ago, um, when I see something that makes me really feel on things, I write it down, as some of you know. Anyway, there's a little saying it said, learn from those there for a reason, appreciate those there for a season, and nurture those there for a lifetime.
Oh, that is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Eh, yes.
And that's why I'm grateful for all levels of friendship. I am always learning. I had a great talk with my husband last night. I wouldn't say he called me out. It wasn't like a call out. It was an observation he had of me. And I love that we have the understanding of the human design. So nothing is taken like there's no reason for me to be offended. Um, it literally is just advice. And it was like one of the last things we talked about before bed. And when I woke up this morning, I was just in this deep state of gratitude because, he's my homie. Like he knows me more than anybody does besides you. Like he really truly studies me. He knows me very well. He knows me better than I know myself, I'm afraid. Like he just does. But, I was reflecting because I knew what tonight was going to be about and I thought, wow, this is what those lifetime friends are about for me. Like they see me in these deep, profound ways that teach me so much about myself and also offer me a new perspective or insight to myself so that I can continue working on being a better version of me. And I love that we have a safe space where we can speak our truth, where it's not like a fight or an argument, because it's like nothing I've ever had before in my life. And I was just so grateful. Like, this is the kind of friendships that I want. These are the friendships that I want to nurture and continue on forever, especially with him, of course. I made a bigger commitment than a friendship. It was just like this really, I'm just so grateful moment, and it made me think into this topic some more. We have people in our lives we know aren't healthy for us. We know that, like, the friendship isn't really that great, but for some reason, we hold on to it because we've been friends for so long, or we're trauma bonded or something like that. Do you wanna fill into that particular,
Yeah.
thing?
So there's definite like we've been saying, the human design, and I know not everyone understands the design, but there's different aspects energetically where there are certain people that if their spleen is undefined, they will have a tendency to hold on to things that aren't good for them. And without that awareness, then people will hold on to friendships that are not really good, and then maybe they'll work on adjusting the person's behavior or ask them to be different, when maybe it's best to just let go of the friendship.
Mhm.
And then I remember way back, like you and me and another person were in a room talking about friends. So conversation I remember, and the other lady said, "Well, what if you're the suck friend?"
It's a good question.
Now that really hadn't occurred to me that there were people that were the suck friends. But I was like, oh well,
I'm sure I've been
okay.
that friend before, yeah.
Well, there's times where we're just not in the best place in our life, and that's where it comes, all the things that we talk about was like raising your own self-awareness and raising the awareness about, well, maybe there's a wound there, and that a person will bump in and touch that tender spot in you, and the icky stuff comes out that needs to not be taken. And a lot of times people will overly use their friends. There's a lot of times where friends can become your therapist when you should put the money down with someone that's professional and get that stuff taken care of so that you can
Yeah.
just relax into friendships. So there's things like this that we can actually overtax our friends sometimes. I have the opposite where I'm like, I should just be able to relax and just be friends for a little while. Just relax.
This is Natalie at a friend gathering that's not work related. What do
What
you
do I
do for
do?
a living? Well, let me tell you. And then the whole not work party becomes a work party because Natalie is always talking about the human design.
I am just because I want people to do it. Plus, I want to know their human design, so it makes conversation be different.
Yeah, and then I'll
It's
just have a
intriguing.
party and say, "Come on over, Natalie, be our entertainment for the evening." And I know my guests are entertained because Natalie's there and she will tell you all about yourself.
I think it's that Leo energy in me that's like, oh, let me entertain you.
I
Or at least I'll
appreciate
know
it,
this topic to talk about.
but I'm also like, Natalie, take a break.
I know.
Be a human for a minute.
Yeah, that's what you told me. You're just like, oh, on our recent trip when we were together, you're just like, I think I saw a little of you that wasn't working.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, so the going back to like choosing to have that friend for a reason or a season. Um, I'm just trying to fill into that because I think a lot of our clients here, I would be safe to say, are going through some kind of struggle with a relationship of some kind,
Yeah,
romantic, friendship, or whatever, right? Or a
right.
loss. And so, transitioning out of that period of your life with that friend and the ways that you could do that in a healthy way. Boundaries.
Yeah,
Boundaries would be a big one. What would you
right.
add to that list?
Um, I was like thinking somewhere else. I was thinking of some people in my groups, but boundaries is a good one with friendship. Just if I talk about me personally, like sometimes it's difficult because I don't turn the work thing off very much, and because it's all super blended, that sometimes I end up being that friend, coach, counselor for people, and then I'm doing too much work, and it's not feeding me back. So boundaries is one of those things that's really helpful with friendships.
Mhm,
The ability to be um, honest. So this is a question that I want to ask, which
mhm.
is like, um, oh, where's that question go? It's like, um, when is, how do you measure whether someone is a friend for you? How do you measure friendship? She
That's a
built
good
into it.
question. Well, no, because I feel like it's different for everybody. I
Well,
don't
it's
think I
true.
can I
Yes.
don't think yeah, I don't think that
Or
I
if
can, like, generalize that. It's so individualized.
Okay, so if I do, I'll do a generalization.
Okay.
That's what I'm good at, right?
Yes.
It's explaining. So we'll just go with some basic things as saying a friendship. A friendship, in a healthy way, would be a relationship that is respectful, generally fun versus taxing, additive more than subtractive from it. And then those are the ones that can be nurturing and that may actually last into the lifetime thing. But if we're going to look at, is this person, because friend can become a label that can be easily placed,
Mhm.
and so a friend label doesn't necessarily mean friend energy, where there
Mm,
is this reciprocal, loving, supportive relationship that doesn't drain you, that there's a lot of times where people like this my ride or die buddy, or the person I can go to and I can tell everything to. And
mhm.
there's various friendships that might fit into that category and some other category, but that's one thing that I would say is that for healthy things that would not necessarily need hard and fast boundaries would be something that's like, do you get what you do you get back while you're giving? And it doesn't have to be, do you get what you're giving? But as you give, do you also receive back
Right.
from things? Because sometimes
Something, some kind of effort
something,
or energy. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Maria has a question. Thank you, Maria. Do people base friendship on the ability of confidentiality?
Yes, so often they do. And there's a lot of people that don't have that ability.
Yeah.
One thing that said, look, I mean, it's hard. If you hand your thing over to someone, you kind of put it out there in the world, and um,
I just trusted people. I was so naive into the world until I wasn't. I'm still learning because I do have that ability to see people and their potential, and I treat them as if they're that already. And then I'm easily and sometimes quickly reminded that that is not who they are now. And so there was a point in my life where I overshared because I'm like, I don't really have anything to hide. I'm not
right.
trying to not be anybody but myself. But I realized in doing that, like, it sometimes I would get taken advantage of because I was just too nice or too giving or too forthcoming. And that created some boundaries for me. You get burned so much, you start going within and like, okay, I'm not going to be so trusting. I'm not going to be vulnerable and authentic with these people, with anybody, because what's the point? And, I went that direction really far into it. And now I'm at a place in my life where I don't force anything. I just see people for who they are, like right when I get a vibe and trust the vibe that they're giving me instead of the potentiality I'm giving them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't overshare anymore. In fact, I'm on lockdown a lot of times with probably 95% of the people in my life, friends or not. I just handle things with a very small like amount of people that I know I can trust the same way that I can trust myself, and I hope that they can trust me. Because when people tell me stuff, I like to consider myself to be a vault. I have a lot of secrets. They're not mine, but they're just like when people like, and I know you can understand this because you do
Mm-hmm.
as well, but not just at work with my clients, but in life because people will come to me with these big experiences they're going through and then don't tell anyone. And it's a responsibility because, I always want to be the friend that I would want. Whether we're like close friends or not, just like having the ability to be trustworthy is super important to me. And so I do desire that with friends or acquaintances.
So along with this confidentiality, this just feels like a step into gossip. So that this is a something to bring up because gossip can be like if you find a lot of times people get together and you talk about other people, and it's the energy of gossiping is an interesting thing to just bring up to say sometimes communicating about people that we know that will be we collectively the mutually understand or know each other, and sharing something that's going on in someone else's life can be a caring and supportive thing, but then it also can be gossipy. So from my education in energy that I've had over lots and lots of years now, that there's something if the way that you're talking with a friend about the person is not gossip, it means that that person could sit there with you and they would feel supported. If they were sitting
Mhm.
there in the room with you and whoever this group of people, and they would not feel supportive by what you're saying about them, then that would be in line of gossip.
Mhm.
And where there's been studies that say gossip holds communities together, it also can undermine um, people and friendships. And sometimes friendships can get broken up because over here they heard that you said what they said to you that they thought was in confidence.
Mhm.
And then it's really painful. I also used to years ago be an oversharer. And I discovered in this way roundabout way, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm obviously putting way too much of my personal business out there in the world for people to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people are gonna talk no matter what,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So and nobody is gonna share your story like you than you.
No.
I've heard so many stories about me, and I'm like, "Wait, what? Where was I?" That's cool.
Where
That's
did that come from? The
yeah,
other
I
thing
mean
that I wanna mention that popped in was I want to just caution people about the ability for you as a person to know anyone else's thoughts, feelings, or motivations. We just, we just, we just can't know what's inside a person. Um, so just be careful because I've heard this often. I know why that person did that. I know why she did that. I know what she sent, why she sent that text, and what she was doing. They were being manipulative. All of these things are like, oh, they were going to do that, and I know that. And it's like, do someone understand? Would you trust someone to interpret your thoughts, your feelings, your motivations? When I
mhm,
ask someone that, most of the time they're saying no. And I say, well, then how is it that you have become a mastermind reader?
mhm. Nice point.
So be
That's one of
conscious
my
about
biggest
that.
pet peeves too, is when someone tells me how I feel. Oh,
You.
and as a manifester, don't do that. Don't do that to a manifester. We get angry. Yeah.
With a defined heart.
Yeah, no, that's such a bad recipe. Mm-mm.
So tell me how I feel.
I
Oh,
don't
do
know.
you?
I'm considered a little spicy. I will be so, so super sweet, but there's a line. There's this fine line. And I don't like to cross it. And it's very, very rare that I do anymore. But when I was younger and messier, I was I wasn't very nice. I could say some very mean things. And I just had to use my words. And I could say them calmly, but they were mean. And I just don't want to be that way anymore. I just don't. I'm cleaning up that act in my life. Maria posted something a little earlier. I think my give a damn broke when I turned 48. You know what? I relate to that so much. At some point, you're just like, you just want to be yourself. You
Yeah.
take me or leave me,
Hmm.
and your people will come. You know, your people will come.
Yeah. Nature abhors a vacuum. I have been really amazed to watch how There's just a steady and consistent flow from the universe, um, for your good. Now, a lot of times we can't see it because we're really caught up inside of our shit.
Mm.
And oh yeah, see, that's what I must have been feeling her because I had this in my mind that said, how do you ask clarifying questions so that you don't misconstrue someone and impose a motivation or a thought or a
Yeah.
feeling on them that
Yes.
isn't theirs? So
So
communication
good.
is a skill set that, um, learning how to ask clarifying questions, and that can be, a lot of us can be inhibited from stepping into that. It's like, ooh,
Well,
avoid conflict. Go ahead.
yeah. It takes a level of bravery.
Mm,
That's how I look at that. If you want something deep and meaningful, you have to be willing to be deep and meaningful. And asking clarifying questions is one of the ways to deepen the communication connection and the relationship.
yeah. And I think that's where, many times people's wounds can hold them back from
Yeah.
stepping, because there are a lot of people that protect their heart. My heart was broken because this friendship ended. And sometimes it can go all the way down to, like, junior high, elementary school, where we picked up some wound from back then, when we're just little people just trying our best to do out in the world, and we pick up something and we hold on to it. And then we have this. And so it keeps us from being open hearted and allowing for the world to give you more, um, beautiful opportunities. There's so many opportunities. There's so many, people that are out there world that are potential friends. We
Hmm.
have to open ourselves up and allow the universe to, and this would tag on to our last week's show with the law of attraction that just says, in the flow, the universe is flowing stuff all the time. And if we go against the flow, or we're not tuning into the flow, then we don't see
Hmm.
what's there right in
Right.
front of us.
Right. Also, a lot of people want to go out and have friends. I'm good.
Yes, you are.
I'm not saying I'm not welcome to more friends. That is not what I'm saying. But the friends I have in my life now literally are lifetime friends. They are. I've been very fortunate to have the friends that I've had. Like my best friend, we've been friends since seventh grade. And I have another friend I've been friends with for like 15 years. There's you. There's like Trisha, she's in the chat room. There's people who have been in my life for a hot minute. And I think about going out to meet new friends. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I have my time and energy spread thin, working on the even part where it's not so thin. And I think I wouldn't be a good friend if I were to add more people in, like a good, consistent friend.
That
That's
remind
just me being real honest.
Well, and that brings up in my, mind, the differences between introverted people and extroverted people.
Oh, not me.
That's yes, you.
You're extroverted. I'm introverted. I will hide away in my house and be okay.
They're like, I don't know that I can go out, and and the social interaction is just feeds for me. Like, oh yes, I can talk to people. Let me go to groups of people. I experienced, so you brought up the pandemic, and where my social interactions collapsed, and going to the grocery store was no longer a connection because everybody was like we just, like, literally worked on building a bubble around us, so we didn't get this virus, we didn't get sick, so we couldn't interact, and we were told to do that. And I think that was when I was like, really, I was sort of crazy, and a bit, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is just like, oh, because my little personal world was very, very limited.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So I'm like,
remember
I'm
that was a struggle.
extroverted, I've got to be. This is
And
not
I was like,
okay.
we have to shut everything down. Dang it. That sucks. Not so much.
Right.
Yeah, it's so good.
So
Well,
reason,
everyone,
season, or lifetime?
reason, season, or a lifetime. Um, I just want to shout out to our listeners in the chat room. You guys are active tonight. Whew, love it. Thank you. If you haven't already liked our live or subscribed to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook, please do so. We appreciate the support. That way we can chat with more people, make new online friends. And, I started gaming again, which is kind of cool. Maybe one day I'll have more online friends, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like friends behind a computer screen, I like it. I can be in my jammies.
It's true.
Oh, any final thoughts, Natalie?
Oh, this was actually a fun topic. We were looking for something that was fun, so this is
Yeah,
fun and not too
not
serious.
so
I had to
serious.
break away from my seriousness. I've just realized that sometimes I'm just this serious person, and it's like, how do I? Okay, can I just like have casual conversations? Let me practice that for a little bit to just like relax a little bit and not
Yeah.
work so much. So this,
And I
I
said
think
that, like, let's spill on a topic and please let's take a break from the serious. Because I'm not serious too much, too often.
no, and it's kind of nice to be able to talk, picking these topics
Yeah.
and being inspired by various things. We just hope that we'll be able to enjoy the hour talk conversation about it, and everybody else will enjoy us having a conversation about it.
Yep, yep. And if you guys have a topic of choice that you would like us to talk about, you can email your request to connect@soulwanderings.com. Or if you just want to say hi, I reply to all of you. We get some hellos. So grateful for that. So next week we'll have a new topic. Same time, same place. Next week. What is next week? Oh, I don't know. 7 days from now.
Oh yeah,
6
what
days
is
from
yes, like
now.
the 10th or something like that, the 11th,
The 11th.
the
Awesome.
11th.
Ooh, maybe we should do something. Oh, I have an idea. Okay.
Oh, we'll hold
All
that
right,
for the
everyone. We're going to end you with a good night. Thank you for being our friends.
yes, and have a
We'll,
good one.
we'll see you all next week.